let me just talk about this. I feel like for some of you, you're in an environment and you might admire other people's accomplishments, other people's achievements, other people's things. Okay. So I feel like you're comparing yourself with somebody that has made it, that is very, very accomplished. And I feel like you want them, you want to be where they are. And you also want to like, not have to, take the long route to get to that position of power, that place of prominence, that place of financial security. And so you feel like, I can cut corners. You feel that, opportunities are there from people around you, soliciting you. Hey, let's do this. Let's cut corners. Let's take the easy way out. Let's take the quick route. And the quick route, I feel that it's going to give you that sense of emotional stability for a very, very short period of time. And ultimately, it's a victory. That externally, it's a victory because once you take that safe route, you will get where you need to be, right? But deep down, I feel that some of you might not be completely happy with the things that you have to do in order to take that quick route in order to get yourself to your goals. I don't feel that you're going to be too happy with yourself by the end of the day. And so the idea here is about choosing, guiding our actions by our moral compass so that we don't end up in a situation where we start to sell out. We don't end up in a situation where we feel like I should have done that better. I should have done that to the best of my capabilities. And I should have, taken the long route, even though it's long and arduous. It might be very, very tedious, but at least it was the honorable thing to do. And so one of the things I'm feeling here is that some of you are in a position, and this is, I do these for the May time frame, but this is going to permeate through the rest of this year. So I want you to be careful. I feel that some of you are like this. Financially, you feel like you need to earn more. And I feel that financially you're here, right? This is starting out the Page of Pentacles, learning a new skill, learning a new craft, learning traditional, I feel like additional skill sets in order to do something to enhance your income generating potential. And where you want to be is like this. Where you are respected, where other people look to you as a voice of authority, where you've made it. So you see the difference between where you are and where you want to be. You want to be on top of your money. You want to have control. And you want to have a lot of, opulence and abundance in your midst. You don't want to, so this is kind of like, the peasant eating wheat. This is kind of like the queen. She's in a very abundant place, okay? So regardless of whether or not you're male or female, I feel like this is where you are, this is where you want to be. And in order to get where you want to be, some of you might have shortcuts. Some of you might be tempted to take detours, to take, to cut corners. And once you're able to cut corners, I feel like for some reason, I'm seeing like cosmetic things. So I feel like you might, for example, you want to look a certain way, but rather than relying on, diet and exercise, you might want to just do like, plastic surgery, for example. Okay. That's just an example. And then rather than, you have to pass a course in order to get like license, for example, but you don't have the time. So you could, hire somebody to do it for you. And that way you pass the course. But in the long run, those decisions, those choices will really catch up with us. Because at the end of the day, you really, really, care about a job well done. You really care about, the fruits of your labor. You care about the process. It's not just about the end goal. You really care that you are devoting your time to doing something worthwhile. And I feel for some of you, going back to that, the diet and exercise thing, I feel that a lot of you are really self-conscious about your figure. Like you try to keep yourself slim and trim. and you want to be healthy as well. So cheating, I feel taking shortcuts and taking like a fast way out is not going to bring you that sense of contentment in your personal power, knowing that you did something that was difficult. I feel that you like the difficult process because it builds character overall. So taking a short way out, yes, for the moment is going to bring you, that satisfaction. But in the long run, when you look back at a series of decisions where you might have taken the shortcut, I feel that you might have shortchanged yourself. Okay. I feel like some of you have already felt this way. And I feel that some of you have already felt this in relationships where you had something that was very good. It was very stable and you really worked at it. And, once you worked at something, if it absolutely could not work out, you don't blame yourself. However, if you got anxious when things got tough, if you didn't work to your capabilities to mend the relationship and then things fell apart, I feel that rather than dealing with the fact that, I should have done everything within my power to make it work, I feel then you're drowning out that guilt, you're drowning out the noise by surrounding yourself with very superficial things in order to not have to deal with, the fact that you could have done more. Okay. So I feel like there's something here about some of us being able to face the consequences of our actions, taking stock and really thinking about like, okay, so I did that and what could I have done differently? Like learning from experience, from true grit experience. And then for others, drowning out, that learning process by telling ourselves, oh, I'm happy right now. I'm happy. When in fact, you know that you could have done more. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it at that, Scorpios. I feel that this is important to coming into the month of May to realize, okay, where we've been, where we're headed, and where we're trying to go. If where you're headed and where you're trying to go are not lining up, it basically means that you need to take stock, take inventory, reorient yourself, redirect this energy so that you're moving in a place, you're moving towards a direction, or you're moving towards a place that is much better for you. Okay. So, last year I did the yearly reading for you guys, and I mentioned all that glitters is not gold. I feel that some of you have taken shortcuts, have done something that you're not supposed to in order to get ahead. And you might realize then that, getting ahead, yes, it's exciting and it's fun, but it's a very lonely victory. Okay. So I feel that, and I especially see like some athletes doing some enhancement, performance enhancement rituals that might not be in their favor. And I feel like these might not be like, you might be semi-professional where you're not screened daily. So be careful. Okay. And then for others of you, you worked and worked and worked and worked at things, and you stayed in situations way too long because, like you saw value in something that might not have been there. But in the process of staying, now you're smarter and you're wiser and you're just like, wow, I can't believe I stayed through all of that. And whatever you did, whatever the struggle was, it built character. So it wasn't done for no reason. It wasn't like a sadistic thing that you decided to stay in because, you like the pain or whatever. I feel that it was character building for you. And so it happened for a reason. Okay. And even though you stayed past the expiration date, it was still okay because now you can finally lay it to rest and you can tell yourself that I did everything, absolutely everything in my power. And it still didn't work. So I'm not going to beat myself up over it. And so for those of you dealing with this, you're on the right path now to move forward with all these lessons learned. Okay. So I wish you the best, Scorpios. I'll try to come back for the mid-month reading. Okay. just depending on how, in general, what the reviews are when it comes to these spiritual readings. But I feel like they're helpful because this has been a very disruptive year. And you want to be careful, especially on the left side, shoulder, that shoulder area. I feel like there might be a sore spot. Other people, I feel like you're doing something to your body. So that means, body modification, like jewelry, especially like piercings and tattoos and things like that. So I feel like that's I see like the upper arm, especially, the biceps and especially the shoulder area. Okay. So just make sure you ice it or make sure that it's completely healed. Okay. So it is the summertime. Well, I'm sorry, it's the springtime in the northern hemisphere. So we tend to sweat a lot. And so, the weather's getting warmer. And if there's a lot of friction, just be careful about heat rashes. So if you have any existing injuries or if you have any, scrapes and cuts, and especially for those of you who are healing from tattoos or even body modification, just make sure that you bandage it up and wipe it down with alcohol swabs so that it doesn't get infected. Okay, so that's very, very important, especially near that shoulder area. Doing weights, make sure you do proper stretches, and just taking care of yourself. I'm not a personal trainer. I don't know these things, but it feels to me like there might be some stress and strain, especially the whole entire left arm for many of you. Okay. So the other thing that I feel here is a lot of you have worked really, really hard at a relationship. And this is a romantic relationship is what I'm feeling. And here's the thing. I feel like for a lot of you, this is a long-standing relationship. For others of you, this might have been, a new relationship that just started within the past like 10 months. And here, I feel like with the old relationship, so if it's a relationship that's been there for a while, the other person knows that you're always going to be there for them. So I feel like it goes without saying that, that you still love this person, you really care about this person, and you're kind of like extending this offer to them that I'm going to be here, but here are my conditions before you get to come back. So I feel like you're putting some ultimatums out there and you're telling people, this is how I need to be treated. Otherwise, you are not coming back. And then for the others of you, a new relationship partner is really, really working their magic on you. So that's what I feel here, where you've invested a lot of time. And I feel like there's a lot of late nights, staying up late at night talking to another person, traveling a lot with another person. And for some of you, it might be long distance. And for some of you, you might be traveling for work. They might be traveling for work. So you're not seeing them every day on a day-to-day level. You're not like together all the time. And what I feel happening is there is a lot of love here. And I feel like it could be very real to the point where it might be that, the whole 9 yards type of relationship where you can settle down and have a family and etc. So it feels to me like it's very, very stable. And it feels to me as well that two people are very, very in love with one another. So I feel like you're going to get some validation here that, your partner feels the same way. Here's where I feel like the problem is. So it seems to me like some of you are dating somebody who is quite adventurous. That's what it feels like to me. It's like they're constantly on the go. They're very exciting. They have a lot of stories to tell. And I feel like there's an element about them that makes them a very, very big risk taker. And I feel like that unsettles you just a little bit. I feel like you're fascinated by them, but that aspect of them, it unsettles you a little bit. And so I feel like you're kind of holding back your heart. You're kind of like, I'm not really sure. So holding it back. And I feel like they're the ones that have been always consistent. Like no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing, whenever, you call or whenever you make an effort, I feel like they're all yours. So it feels to me like somebody's really prioritizing you, making you their top mission, making you their main priority. They drop everything that they're doing and they're really trying to, prioritize you. And a big part of you feels this. You know that you can trust them. They really care about you. And you might feel a little bit scared that they're so wrapped up in you. That's what it feels like to me. Like you're a little bit scared. And so I feel like you're not telling them how much you really care about them, mainly because you don't want it's like getting too intense too fast. So it feels to me like, you have a well of emotion. It's like very deep emotions for this person. But it almost I almost feel like you care about them, you are protective of them, and you feel like they deserve more than what you're able to give. That's what it seems like to me. And so what I feel here is that this person obviously really, really cares about you. And I feel like it can be a really good relationship. So you can't, let the past hold you back from expressing how you feel. And you also have to understand that your partner, they're living their life. So while we always want the best for, the people we love, it is up to them to make a decision. So it feels to me some of you are holding back on making like a long-term proposal to this person because you're just like, no, I think they deserve more. But the thing is, you're not in their shoes. You can't really make this decision for them. Okay. So that's what I feel is happening here. And I feel like some of you might be dealing with this within a child, like a child, excuse me, a child of yours, where they're kind of like being very sneaky at school, like either cutting class or, getting into trouble or something like that. And I feel like on the one hand, you are obligated to discipline them. But on the other hand, you're like, well, when I was their age, I was the same way. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and, discipline them too harshly. So the thing here is that we need to hold everybody to the same standard. So it doesn't matter if you were, behave the same way when you were young. You know that it's wrong. So you need to, do the right thing. So I feel like there's going to be this major decision here about, dealing with somebody you really love and making allowances for them and letting them make their own decisions, like letting them like be less, I guess, like micromanaging and sitting back and letting them make their decisions. Okay. So I feel overall, very wonderful, 2 weeks. And I do sense as well, just with the exercise thing, just be careful of strain and stress on your upper body. And I feel like there's weekly travels, like weekend travels. I feel like it's going to be some really wonderful sightseeing that you're doing. Okay.